This is Boxing Tickets, and we are delighted to be joined by the returning Mick Conlan. How are you, Mick?
All good, mate. All good.
I know I've obviously spoke to you, obviously off camera, obviously at shows and things. I'm guessing, obviously, since obviously your defeat to Jordan Gill, I'm guessing probably the thing that's annoyed you the most was people asking you before you made your decision, are you fighting on? Are you fighting on? I know at stages you probably nearly felt like a ghost at certain press conferences and stuff because you didn't want to do media because you didn't want to keep asking the same questions. But I'm sure you're probably relieved more in your own mindset now that you've made your decision and you're going to carry on.
No, mate, it was not. The thing that annoyed me most was like I never says it was done publicly. And I put like with close people, I was saying that was me done, but never said it publicly. And everybody just assumed I was done. So people going, "I is you done now?" And they're like, "Fuck up, fuck up." I don't even know if I'm done. So how the fuck do you know? But no, I wasn't in like a ghost. I'm just no need to do no interviews when I have no news, you know what I mean? Um, and I waited till I had news before I was decided to do any interviews. So yeah, that was it.
I'm guessing obviously when people obviously seeing the defeat coming, probably two defeats back to back sort of thing, people start to assume things. And I guess in the immediate aftermath, obviously Eddie Hearn, obviously he wasn't sure what was happening next. But like knowing you obviously throughout obviously the career obviously I've had with boxing as myself here, obviously following it, you're always very passionate with the sport. Like sometimes people can take you the wrong way sometimes in the fact that they don't think you're passionate about the sport. But like if you decided obviously after the Lee Wood fight that you were finished, people want fair dues. But we've seen obviously more recently, obviously you've got good inspiration from Anto Cacace. Obviously the trials and tribulations he's been through in his career probably only justifies more to your decision to carry on that you can still get to where you want to go to.
Yeah, no, listen, yes, you take inspiration from other people, especially Andrew after doing what he done. But for me, it's more that I still have goals to achieve and still believe I have the ability to achieve them. And the people closest to me still believe I have the ability to achieve them. So, why not roll them one more time? And if it doesn't go right, it's done. So it's literally the last dance. Cue the Michael Jordan music coming on now, and I roll them and put everything into it like I have every time. Probably bar the last time because it was so short, but I give my whole life to the game, and I've done really well in the game. I've achieved an awful lot of things, but I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve, and that's why I'm willing to go. Let's do it one more time because 32 in the old days, 32 was, you were done. You're way past your prime then. But with modern sports science and how training and stuff is now, the age kind of goes up and has been going up for the last few years. So yeah, I'm ready just to, give it everything. And if it comes up good, happy days. If it comes up short, then so be it.
Is it one of them? I guess, you'd always want to win a world title your very first attempt. Obviously, we know you were 90 seconds away from becoming a world champion in Nottingham. But it make it sweeter, I guess, sometimes to come through the trials and tribulations you've been through, then to finally have always a world title around your waist. Would it feel more real, or obviously it's still going to feel the same regardless? But because of what you've been through over the last couple of years, would it make it more sweeter the fact that you still got to
Definitely,
where you wanted to go to?
definitely, definitely. It's like when you're restricted from having something, the longer you kind of wait before you have it, the sweeter and better it tastes. So I see that's how this will play out. And, you know, in my opinion, it will play that way. I will become world champion. And I am going to be a world champion. And that's what it is. That's how I have to see things and how I have to kind of speak things for myself and for my own head. Because I know what I can do, I know what I can achieve, but with the setbacks and everything that's happened in between from the first attempt, of course, it makes the story and anybody who's watched my career and followed my career, it makes it all the better. Now it would have been beautiful to win it on the first attempt and going win another world title and defend it and have some big fights. And yeah, that would have been the perfect thing. But you know, things don't always play the way we want to play them. And now I'm here and playing the hand I'm dealt with and ready to go and give it everything again.
Was it the Jordan Gill? Obviously, I know from reading things. Obviously, it was about 6 weeks out. You'd sort of accepted the fight. Was it sort of more of a business sort of decision, more the fact that Matcham are coming back here for the first time?
No, not at my point, mate. No, it was 8 weeks out. It was kind of accepted and announced. Um, if I'm going to be honest, when the fight was said to me by my brother, I says not the fight, and he knew how the kind of sparring and stuff had went when I sparred Jordan. He went, really? So my ego was called into question, and I says, fuck it, all right. But when you look back in hindsight, you go, it wasn't the fight. I hadn't even done any training with the new coach, bar tested me out for a few days. And then at the say I was going with him. And 6 weeks of actual training, which was put in then because obviously the first week you fly over, we lose a kind of few days with time difference and all that there. And then obviously fight week, you're not doing no kind of work really, bar weight loss and some little sharp stuff. But you make these decisions and you pay the consequences and you live with the consequences, and that's just the way it is. And there's no point looking back going, oh, I should have done, should have done that, because there'd be an awful lot of things I would say I should have done, and decisions which shouldn't have been made or should have been made. But it's in the past now. There's no point in looking back. Let's look towards the future and look towards trying to work my way back to the number one top.
Is that why you're taking your time, obviously, in each decision you make? I know there's been an article put out today. It said, obviously, Buddy McGirt's going to be your new coach. And you clarified to me to say you still haven't made a decision. This is obviously
Yeah.
because this is your last chance. You're making sure this decision you make isn't rushed, that you'll make it in the time when you feel like it's time, the bond's sort of there with the new coach before you make a decision.
Definitely, we'd have to take my time because the last one was rushed in a sense. As I say, I went over to Miami mid-September, tried three coaches, tried Buddy, tried Jorge Rubio, and tried Pedro Diaz. If I'm going to be honest, looking back, Pedro's one of the best coaches I've ever worked with, but in my opinion, probably just too late in the game and probably too short of a camp together. Um, so I gotta give big credit to him because he's a fantastic coach, a fantastic man, but just too late in the game and too rushed in a sense of going into a fight, which nobody knew what Jordan Gill was going through, and he came through that and had to do what he had to do. So, fair play. But that's just the way it is. You got to take your time and make sure to do the right things instead of rushing them like I done.
How many coaches are you trying out at the minute? Is it three or four?
I've tried three, yeah. Buddy, Grant Smith, and Stephen Smith, and now I'm over doing a second week with Stephen Smith at the minute, and I'll go and see Grant Smith next week for a few days, and then I'll still take my time. I'm not gonna rush into the decision. I'm gonna have another think and have writing things down and all that stuff. So I'm just making sure I make the right one because I've never been the type of guy. I feel like I'm the type of guy jumping around coaches, but it's not me. It was never me as an amateur. I stayed in the same club my whole life, and even as a pro, like obviously the first year of Manny in LA just wasn't the right place for me to be living, especially with another baby on the way. So I moved back and I stayed with Adam then for the last 5 or 6 years, whatever it was. And then after Lopez one decided to make the change, and feeling it was probably the right time to make a change because you got to be selfish in this game and you get one shot at your career. So, I went to Pedro, but again, like I said, it was probably too rushed, and maybe not even too rushed, just maybe not enough time together to work on everything that needed to be worked on. So, um, I'm changed the game because I'm not going back to LA at the minute. Or sorry, Miami at the minute. You know, there's an awful lot of good coaches here, and I should probably just stay closer for my family and stuff at home.
Definitely, obviously, the old saying, obviously, a happy fighter's a dangerous fighter. The closer you are to home, obviously, the happier you're going to be without all the
I'll still
airline.
be away. Like, I'll still be away for the most of the camp, so it wouldn't really matter where I am. But it's just it's easier, for me to be, you know, with this range in case I'm needed. When other band or the house and stuff. So I've got to get everything set up there. And funny thing is that when my both world title fights as moving house both times, and I was going out of my own fucking control. The second one, the first one, the house had bought all fell through at the last minute, and not on my side, on their side, and I was stuck then, and I had to rent, and I was renting. And then the person I was renting off wanted to sell her house, so I had to move again, both in the middle of world title fight training camps. So you're going, fuck me, like it's like I'm cursed in that sense. But now I've got my foundation set down proper now, and it is what it is. We can have a proper structure and proper foundation at home, so I don't really have to worry too much.
Do you still aim, or is the aim still to return before the end of 2024? Or is it just sort of take your time, get used to the new coach, and then once the time's right, then return?
Oh, I'll see, I don't mind. Maybe the end of the year, maybe the start of next year. I'm in no rush in a sense that it's not like the fight by the end of the year. Because that'll be a year out of the ring basically, and good time for my body to recover. And the longest break I've ever had from boxing, the longest I'll have not been in a ring, and since I was a kid. So it's a long time, but it's probably what my body needs. 26 years of boxing this year. It's a lifetime for a lot of people, and I've had a nice bit of rest, but now I'm back and I'm ready to go.
Does it help? Obviously, the fact that obviously you're promoting and managing obviously shows as well. Like obviously, some of the shows we've had this year, if you didn't have the buzz for sort of returning before some of them, obviously what it would have done afterwards. But is it helping in this currently at the moment? Obviously, when you're not training, you're not fighting, where you can actually get to help other people's careers. Does that help burden it for you a wee bit?
No, no, it's part of the job, isn't it? I'm happy to do it. It's under the avenue out of boxing, which I have, and along with my beer, and it's nice to help other kids go, and I'm passionate about fighters and how fighters are treated and looked after. It's always something that's been very important to me. So that's why I think myself and Jamie, coming from a fighting background, are in a very good place to be doing what we're doing. Because it is fighter first. But I'm not going to shows and going, fuck, I would love to be out here. I love to be out. It's not, like, yeah, I've always said that I will never love boxing, like, because boxing can never love you back, because that's when you can lose yourself to boxing. That's not me. So I enjoy it. I'm good at it, and I still got goals to achieve. Is the reason. My targets, which I've put up from the start of my career, are still within reach, and I've just gotta get to them before I can say hasta luego, my friend.
When you sort of, I guess, when you look at the year, obviously, Conlan Boxing wise, obviously, he's co-promoted a show with Matchroom and the Ulster Hall. He's obviously with co-promotion, obviously, for Paddy McCrory's fight with Berlanga. Obviously, he's co-promoted with Frank Warren, obviously, there last weekend as well. And he's done obviously, your own show in Liverpool. It's been a great 2024 for Conlan Boxing so far.
It's growing, mate. Slowly but surely we're growing. We're growing. Getting out. We've got our dates with dazn, and obviously Tyrone show we're gonna do is on dazn, and you know we've had a good few shows now. We've got more in the pipeline, so it is going well for us. It's just all about kind of building that next star. I believe we have him in Lewis Crocker, and there's a potential huge fight for Lewis coming up. Um, and then we've got the likes of Kurt and stuff come behind him. So we do have a great kind of roster of talent that I'm happy about. And really, when you see them fighting, you see them winning, and you see the show put on, and like, the show we done in Liverpool here today was fantastic. In fairness, I'll be honest, like compared to the show in the SSC, the atmosphere was 100 times better from the first fight. Like from the first fight, there was as much people in the arena as there was for the all that show, really. You know what I mean? So and one of the fighters who was on the undercard, one of his like team come up to, I think he was one of his sponsors, and says, just want to thank you, because every single fighter on that card felt like they were the main event, and it was amazing to see. They loved it. So when you hear things like that from just people who don't need to say nothing to you, it's really nice. So when you can see you're actually making fighters feel like they're worth something rather than, going in the arena, nobody there, fighting in front of nobody, and then going out and that's you done. That we made sure we done it right, even in Liverpool. And we did it right in Belfast anyway, but I think our growth is starting to kind of speed up and something that we're really happy about.
You mentioned there obviously potential was a big fight with obviously Lewis. Is that the potential fight with Paddy, or is there something else in the works?
Yeah, potential fight with Paddy Donald. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic one for Lewis. I said before his last fight that I think his last fight was going to be harder than the Paddy Donovan fight, and she had to be seen because they haven't faced each other. But I said I thought Conor Walker would be a harder opponent for Crocker, and he sure as hell gave him a tough test. But the big man came through it, and he done really well. Because if you watch it without the punditry on, you see a different fight. You know how much punches actually landed in the first 6 rounds on Crocker clean. Probably none, because his guard was so good and he was so tight, and probably in the back half he probably get caught the all one like kind of coming through the guard. But the first half there was very, very little clean shots landed, and Crocker had the hands up and was landing the massive eye catching shots. Credit to Conor Walker because he is a tough, tough man. He took some serious punches off Lewis. Um, but Lewis had to dig deep, and he showed he had that dog in him, and it was nice to see.
You've obviously already been involved. I think you've been the one that sort of channeled it a bit more. Obviously, the sort of online altercation you and Paddy sort of had. I guess people would have probably wanted more of it sometimes, sort of. But like for you, probably you're probably happy at the fact that you've got the Paddy before a fight's even been announced. That you know how you can get inside Paddy's head.
Yeah, listen, Paddy's behaved silly, and I think I've always been a big fan of Paddy Donovan, and always shared about Paddy Donovan from the rooftops from his pro debut. You know what I mean? So when I seen it and I seen how he reacted, I kind of was a bit annoyed by it, going, Paddy, come on. I wasn't saying that I'm bad. I said when you fight a real welterweight, because let's be honest, Lewis Ritson is a blown up lightweight who is half bloody shot to bits. And he's been done before by other people already. So, you know, like you should be taking guys out like him out way easier. He get on to me about Crocker's opponent and saying he was a super featherweight and all this year, but you can go. He's a real dangerous guy, no matter what weight he is. He's a lightweight, but he's a dangerous lightweight, and you know Crocker handled him like he should handle him. It wasn't anything where you're going, he actually done well there. There was not one stage that Jose Felix done well against Lewis, but Lewis Tristan actually did have some success against Paddy at times. So I was just saying that you'll realize it when you fight a real welterweight in Crocker, and he took real offense, did and tried to get real personal with me. But like people can say what they want, this I've lost, I've been knocked out in fights. It is what it is. It's boxing, you know what I mean? You don't jump into the water and stay dry, do you? You get wet. So um it's going to happen to somebody eventually. And I think him saying that and saying the type of stuff he says is silly, because it will happen to him. And I think Crocker will do it to him too. And um, I wasn't trying to be offensive when I was saying it. I was just being a manager, promoter, and trying to sell the fight a bit more. And he reacted how he reacted, and it is what it is. But I wish him all the best in training camp. I hope he goes well, and I hope he does take the fight and it goes ahead.
Speaking obviously of a recent signing, obviously he's had, obviously I spoke to Jim about this already, but obviously Pierce O'Leary, we've obviously, I know that me and Jamie ourselves have obviously spoke sort of off camera, and how impressed we've sort of been with Pierce as he's sort of built from his debut in the Ulster Hall,
Mhm.
but he's pretty much now of the number one Irish super lightweight and number one Irish welterweight. So like what great foundations you have there in Pierce and Lewis.
Yeah, definitely. And Pierce Leary is a kid who, from when NTK went down and Pierce became like a free agent, he was the only one I really wanted. He was the one I says, we need him. He's the kid who we need. And unfortunately, at that stage, he went to Francis Warren, and Francis done a good job with him until he was kind of gone. And then we came in and we have kind of got the coop on him, and delighted because I watched him on his debut, and I remember saying he's gonna go far. This kid is going in against Nicaraguan journeyman kind of tester kind of guy who beat a few prospects, and that's even at that stage. I'm going, this is a test, and he's getting in trying to take his head off. No fear, no nothing. I like him. He's got balls to burn. He can fight. He can punch. He just needs to kind of fix a few wee things, and he's done that. He's much more cuter now. He uses his brain more now. What a talent. And even his performance against Dara, and credit to Dara for being such a tough man because, many men would have folded there. But, I think Pierce had food poisoning. I think if he didn't have the food poisoning, he probably could have got Dara out of there. But, I thought he put on a great performance and he looked really, really good. I was delighted for him because he's a good boy. He's a real nice boy, quiet man. Uh, Looks like Clark Kent. You don't really get too much out of him, but when he talks with a purpose and real kind of authority behind it. It might be soft spoken, but he's real. And a kid who I really like. I'm very proud of his performance and how mature it was. The same as Lewis, very proud of his performance, how much battle and guts he showed. He showed the dog in him, and that was something I love to see out of a fighter because you're going to be asked questions in this game many times, and so much times you can keep answering them is the important thing.
I guess obviously the next step obviously for Pierce, obviously he wants to obviously fight in Dublin. He obviously hasn't had that chance yet. Would the next step obviously be a three arena or maybe somewhere like the RDS they build up? Is that the next sort of goal for Pierce?
Listen, from a management side, I would have had him Dublin a long time ago. Um, but from a promotional side, he's still with Frank, and hopefully Queensberry can get him to Dublin and do a show in Dublin. But I think Dublin is an untapped market, and he's a star in the making down there because if you build him down there, you've got the next Bernard Dunn type kid coming through who's going to have that Dublin fan base who are mental and love boxing, but they haven't got no stars at the minute. And he is the star from Dublin. He is the man of Dublin. I would say under everything, he's Dublin's son, and that's what we need. We need to bring him back home.
Definitely, I very much agree. And now you sort of spoke before, obviously, on potentially, obviously, yourself fighting in Dublin. Do you still have ideas, obviously, of fighting in Dublin? Or I guess, obviously, it'll depend on whenever you come back and not looking too far ahead. But would you like to fight in Dublin?
Love to. I've always says that I love the fight in Dublin. And if there was potential in it, I would definitely do it. I'd be up for it, and it'd be something I would speak to Matron about in the future about it because I could do big numbers in Dublin, definitely, definitely. I could do massive numbers in Dublin. You'd have people come from every corner of Ireland if I was fitting in through, and that would be something nice. So who knows? There's definitely still potential, I think. Obviously Belfast will always do really well for me, but I think again for me Dublin's an untapped market. I haven't went there, and I think if I did go there, it could be really big.
Definitely would. Obviously, we're less than 4 weeks now, obviously, from Conlan Boxing. The next show, obviously, the return of the mighty cult. What a card. I would have to sort of sit there and think, but obviously, when you look at the fight that's on the card, we'd probably fairly say it's probably the best Conlan Boxing show yet on paper.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. You know, we've had some good shows already. But on paper, obviously with Tyrone headlining, it's not a co-promotion, so it's different. Because if you look at the co-promotion with me and Matchroom, it was basically a co-promotion in the Conlan Boxing Matchroom, and it was me main eventing. Look at that card. That would be the best card, wouldn't it? You
Uh,
have me, you have Lewis Tyrone, you have all these guys in the other card, and you're going, okay. But from a solo perspective, probably yeah, it's you know one for the new kids, isn't it? Really, David's on it, and then you have Owen O'Neill. It's and Dylan Moran. I think that's a great fight. Um, so there is some great fights, and then you've got fearghus beating Aston Brown, and that's going to be a barnstormer. I think that's going to be a cracker, and Fergus, or you could Fergus, yeah, he's the forgotten man at times, but it's because he's so quiet. He is a man who can really fight, has balls to burn, doesn't say much at all, but can fight. So it's an interesting one. One I'm looking forward to. A great card, and then just have the madman that which is Tyrone McKenna. What a crazy guy! Like, I wanna come back. Okay, what are you thinking? Oh well, I want to fight my moon. You're going, Jesus, a hard fight. Coming back, okay. Fair play to you. Okay, we can do it, but okay, if you really want to do it, we'll do it. So he says, yep. Says, what about this one? Nope, I want my moon. Okay. All right, that's you, man. Yeah, it's just him. He's him, and the definition of him is just mental.
You think normally, if you're having a rematch with someone, it's normally maybe someone that's beat you. But obviously, to give someone a rematch that you've already beat, you're sort
Mhm.
of you're giving them more chance of obviously getting their revenge. It probably
Yep.
it had to work too. Whereas
Yeah.
you're wanting to fight someone because French people were giving you stick because they thought the fight was close.
He's mental. He's just mental. It was a hard fight. My man's a good fighter, really good fighter. Um, no, it was a close fight, but the French obviously felt very hard done by, but Tyrone felt he won, and here we are. Let's do it again. This is crazy. You don't need to have this type of fight right away, but if this is what you want, Tyrone, your wish is my command. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. One I think that Tyrone kind of wanted because he needs to be up for something, and this is the type of fight that gets him up for something. Someone who's trying to attack his ego and attack him as a person. He doesn't want that, doesn't like that. He wants to prove a point now.
He's definitely a man who always goes against the grain. Sometimes he'll do decisions for him, obviously, than anybody else. And he's probably the perfect sort of showman, like his promos. Like you imagine, Mick, if you had obviously the ideas that Tron has promo wise.
The fucking characteristics of Tyrone, or even the fucking bravado of Tyrone and the mind of Tyrone, I'd probably be in jail. You know what I mean? So, like, the guy's just mental. He's crazy, and the stuff he comes up with, the kind of swagger he has, everything, his dress sense. He's just crazy, and I love it. I love it about him, Mr. McKenna. You get what you see there, and he is who he is, and has always been that man. So that's what I like. When people who are their people are their true selves. That's the best thing about people. When people be them true selves and have no kind of falseness behind it, and you know what you're getting when you speak to them. That's what I respect.
Definitely, very much so. Obviously, your own probably own personal side. Obviously, Kevin Cronin now is obviously had a couple of fights on these. He sort of mentioned obviously once. I know you had initially planned to potentially do Kerry in August, and
Yeah,
logistically it just wasn't working out. Is it
yeah. It wasn't feasible at this stage of where we're at with Conlan Boxing, but the show's not coming up. Carry show probably wasn't feasible for us. The cost and everything of it was just really high at this stage for where we're at with doing our own shows, and with the shows we have in the pipeline, it wasn't working. So, um, I've heard that through Jamie and stuff, Colin Walsh is coming home soon. With Lawfler and Dana White coming to Ireland to do a show in Dublin. And there's a potential Kevin could be on that in a fight with another Irish fella. I know two names that have been mentioned, so it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely. Just obviously finally obviously want to obviously I guess speak on obviously Riyadh. Obviously the last year, obviously the Riyadh season seems to have taken over. The next one now, Terence Crawford and Madrimov with obviously the Wembley cards. Like are you sort of hoping when you're back to world level stage that these Riyadh cards are still about? Because the money that's going about there is something serious.
100%, 100%, definitely. I think what Turkey Al Sheikh is doing is special. Getting fights made which nobody can get made, and doing them how he's doing them is, he's done a great job. And I think Conlan Boxing might even have an in with Riyadh season very soon. So, yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'd love to be a part of it, and I do believe eventually I will be. So, we'll see.
is there any sort of fights in world boxing that you sort of haven't seen yet that you sort of you want them to put on? We're seeing sort of fights happening everywhere. I guess the one that probably a lot of people want to see is probably AJ and Fury, but they obviously have to go through different obviously opponents next. Is there any fights that you would like to see that they haven't thought of yet?
I'll be straight up with you, Steve. No, not. I probably don't watch as much boxing as I used to. When you're in boxing your whole life and it's your work and all that there, you compete in it and then you do the promotional side and the management side. I'll watch fighters you need to watch and watch fights I need to watch, but I'm not a boxing geek like I used to be.
Just obviously finally obviously want to leave obviously a potential former opponent for you. Obviously Josh Warrington's obviously fighting Anto Cacace. Obviously in some ways it's probably like revenge. I guess Josh Warrington's beat three former Irish fighters. Obviously Anto Cacace obviously on a high. Gets to revisit Wembley obviously 2 years ago where obviously his fight fell through in fight week.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I was there for Kurt. I remember it. Yeah, it's fantastic, and Aldo could be getting Josh at the perfect time. Moving up in weight, coming off back to back defeats. Um, you know, if you look at it, the probably is the better time. Where Frampton probably got him at the hardest time when he just come off his career best win. Um, but you know, it's not an easy fight still for Rondo. It's going to be a hard fight because you can't write Warrington off. He's a fucking great fighter, and his engine is undeniable. And I'll be honest, I think his father is a fantastic coach and has fantastic game plans. Um, he looked like he was going to beat Lee Wood quite comfortably, and then obviously get caught, and that's just the way he crumbled in that one. I know what that's like. So it's heartbreaking, but it is what it is. It's boxing. Um, and he probably has something that is Ando's kind of kryptonite, which is the engine. He's able to work. Ando hasn't had to show that he has an injury or not in the last way, but I know earlier in his career people used to say like he doesn't have the engine to kind of go like hard for the 12 rounds, but if I'm honest, he looked all right in that Corina fight. His engine looked decent in that, but if you look at Warrington, how he works, his engine is always very, very high. So I think that's probably what favors him is his engine, but the power is in Anto's favor, the size in Anto's favor, the boxing technicalities are in Anto's favor. So yeah, I think Anto wins, but I'm not. It's not a cert. I wouldn't put money on it.
It's one of them things, isn't it? Particularly, obviously, we've seen when someone has their career best win, they become a world champion. You can then become complacent and think that things are easy. And obviously, that's the one thing Anto will probably not do. He wants these big paydays to keep coming, and they're going to keep coming when he keeps winning. So he'll probably ignore a lot of what he sees, people's prediction wise on the fight, and just focus on probably what he done against Cordina.
Yeah, Anto's a kind of very down to earth guy. Doesn't I wouldn't say he's big into the social media stuff, so I don't think he'll be looking at anything like that. I'm worrying about anything like that. And I know he does like an old bet at times, so I hope he's not looking at the bet. But like that doesn't matter. And he knows that he's a professional and he's been around the game long enough. And you see the odds upset an awful lot in boxing. So if he's favourite, he knows that he has to stay on the ball and not let the odds be upset.
Definitely. Well, listen, Mick, thanks very much for your time. Obviously, a late Wednesday evening. You're probably out for
Yeah.
golf tomorrow. Obviously, still doing your Tiger Woods stuff. Obviously, in your
No, mate, I'm over in England. I'm over in England, so
no golfing.
I'm over in England. No golfing. Didn't bring my clubs this time. We're disgusted.
Not a problem. Well, look, thanks as always for obviously having a catch up, and we'll see you
Just
obviously in the 3rd of August in Belfast.
no, I won't be here. I have to do an event for my sponsor,
No bother.
so I'll have to give August 3rd a miss.
Not a bother. Well, sure. Look, I'll catch up with you very soon, Mick.
All right, speak to you soon,
All right,
mate.
cheers,
Take
mate.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.